We have the rectangular block in another one, another one. This over there used to be there. But
Yeah,
they made them
lit down.
one, and then the other one comes to the half.
Yeah.
Why? Because of structural stability. This is what they do
Yeah.
in this section. Then you have the first row, below is second row, below is the third row, below is the fourth row. When we came here 10 years ago, of course, everything was covered by soil, bushes, and trees.
Yeah, looks like big pine trees.
Yeah, so those pine trees are from 1960s and 1970s. They planted them purposely.
Yeah.
That is in Yugoslavia. Whenever you have a hill with no forests, that's what they would do. They would come and they plant the trees. So they didn't know that they were planting trees over the structure. So, but then the next thing, you see a lot of smaller pieces. Now we've measured this material. It's artificially made concrete. We can call it synthetic concrete or geopolymer concrete.
Interesting.
It is of extreme hardness.
Yeah,
Our
looks like
concretes,
it, yeah.
10 to 60 megapascals. This one is reaching up to 134 megapascals. 2 times or even 3 times harder than our concretes. But then why do we have smaller pieces? Below us is the gypsy village. And this land was never attractive in Visoko because it's at 45 degrees.
Yeah, of course.
So of course you cannot plant anything, you cannot have domestic animals. So the gypsies got the land basically for free. Now they need to build the houses. What they do? They don't have money for construction material. They come here, they start digging, they find those blocks. 7 tons, 5 tons, 8 tons. Over there 32 tons. They're just too big. So they would bring a dynamite
And blast it.
you know, blew everything out. They are getting smaller pieces, and they are taking smaller pieces to their foundations. And that's why some sections of pyramids have been destroyed forever, unfortunately. We've opened about 17 sections. So these are 2. This is what we call 4A and 4C. You're going to see 5. But it's a construction material. And right now we are at this spot. So remember yesterday we were looking the northern side of the pyramid. This is the northern triangle. This is east. These are the stairs that we were climbing. And right now we are here in this area. This is where we removed the soil and vegetation. So if the pyramid is only this, 220 meters, we are close to the base of the pyramid. However, the slope goes all the way to the bottom of the valley, and according to some psychics, this is just the tip of the iceberg. The pyramid goes all the way underground.
It looks like it, yeah.
Much, much deeper. So what we are looking is really the top of the structure. And then we are at the base of the top. From here to the top, 450 meters. I remember yesterday when we were in the tunnels, they built the tunnels in material we call the river conglomerate. And river conglomerate is just stones, pebbles, rocks, sand, different sizes, different colors. Exactly what we have here. All they needed was a binding material, a brownish material. They got clay, natural clay, they got natural stones, temperature, pressure, water, and they made those. We started there, where it's dark gray. Then every year we expand a little bit, lighter. This is from this year, that's from this year. So, wherever you dig, you're finding structure. You're finding concrete of excellent quality. So after tens of thousands of years, so many earthquakes, tectonic movements, even bombing in the last war, 92-95, they were bombing the pyramid, actually, Serbs did. We still have rather preserved structure. Even people with dynamite, obviously they were not dynamiting this area. Like I said, completely covered by soil until 10 years ago. And then we started excavation.
See, let's try with the rod.
nothing significant here. All I can say, there is an energy flow pulling up the slope.
Yeah.
Going up the slope, for whatever reason, whatever the construction produces to harness the energy that way, goes up, all up to the top.
But the way I see it, we have extremely hard concrete material here. And it has nothing to do with the beauty, like in the case of ancient Greek or ancient Roman, beautiful temples and columns. This was about the function. And the function was primarily to make sure that the energy does not get out, does not get released from the structure, but it moves upwards. Now we think that all these energy flows are coming from the underground, and the idea is here to focus it so it can go through the top of the structure. So what you just said, it does fit, let's say, my thinking.
Because there is no significant line to discover, which says, okay, it's like a channel going up this way. It feels like if there is just a steady flow of energy going up the whole wall. I think it's very fascinating, and everybody can see that this is definitely concrete, man-made blocks. The question is, how deep do they go?
Well, in this particular case, we have 2 layers of blocks,
Yeah.
75 centimeters each, 75.
Yeah.
And then below them is clay, and then below concrete, and below clay, and then below sandstone blocks.
Uh-huh.
And they are all laid out at the same angle, 45 degrees, all the way to the top.
Yeah.
But now we have 75 centimeters. The one I just showed you, our trench number 4C. There are 4 layers between 40 and 45 centimeters, which brings us to the same thickness, 160, 180 centimeters.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the third one has the blocks that are rather square in design. So over there square, rectangular. Here it's rather irregular, I would say.
Yeah, I'd say.
But not entirely. Look at this section here. You can see edges.
Yeah.
So probably they poured this section here, and then they poured the second section.
Yeah, this one broke
Going
probably.
a little bit below. But then
Yeah.
maybe it broke, maybe it was a section at some other time. And then you have the third section, and the fourth section. And you see how every tiny section goes a little bit under, creating a little step. So if it was done that way, then it would be because the structure is heavy.
Interesting technique. Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with our today's concrete mixers. This is
Another idea to work with nature.
all the different materials. Small, the bigger ones, the medium
But
size.
I mean, here you can really see that this is artificial. You know, even if you don't see a pyramid, this is artificial
Then
stuff.
if you have the shape of the pyramid,
Yeah.
and everything is covered in concrete. So if the soil is removed, what do you have? You have concrete structure in the shape of the pyramid. Produces energy phenomena. And that's what we are proving. Well, this was more for tourism, so you can get a feeling about the structure and the material that you can show your friends. There are a few more sections about, but they are smaller sections. They are 5 by 5 meters or so. But like I said, it's construction everywhere. And like I said, it was not about the beauty, it was about getting very, very strong structure. Now, between the layers, when we remove the soil, between the layers we are finding organic material. Like we find this leaf.
Yeah,
What's that
I
leaf?
saw that in your presentation. About 30,000 years, maybe older though.
You add 15%
Yeah.
to 4,000.
Well, you know, what I personally think is that we have these time cycles, and that we are now in the 5th cycle, and then you go back, you see that probably 40,000 years ago all this started. Like that whole older pyramid stuff was
Right.
starting. Somebody was suddenly changing big time in consciousness and then creating all these things.
But now, can you read of the picture? This is how we illustrate possible energy beam from the top, comparing to what you were seeing today.
Well,
feeling
it's
today.
not very different. It's pretty close. It's pretty close. It's pretty close. Though different qualities. I mean, what are expressed in the colors. Just
Colours.
because this is kind of a linear approach. When you have colors, you have sound.
Yes.
So probably if you get somebody with very sensitive instruments, when I do some kind of healing work, you will hear sounds beyond what our ears hear, coming out of my hands or so. Or
Good.
need to get somebody to do that actually. I've never done it before. But I think it is like that, and here you have the same thing. It is a connection between light and sound.
Good. That's what we think also. Okay, that was the Sun Pyramid, concrete blocks.